It's my feel-good breakfast show.
This is your Feel Good Breakfast Show, Expresso. Thank you so much for joining us this morning as we're talking relationships. You are in a marriage and you want to move on while you are married because things are not going well. We're talking whether you can act like a single person and what are the values and things connected to this. Psychologically, what does it mean? Well, our relationship expert is in the house. Dr. Eve is here. And we're also taking your calls on 083-913-3728. We're also asking the question on the streets. Should you create boundaries with your marital partner?
No, we mustn't set out boundaries, because if you set out boundaries, that means you won't be able to know where you're standing when that's married.
Should work it out. If they're not happy, they should work it out.
I think it's better to fix it, to run about it.
I think they should fix the relationship, not set boundaries.
Sure, Dr. Eve, what to do? Boundaries. Shouldn't love be free? Isn't it just amazing? And you wake up and you're in love the whole time.
Boundaries are the most important element of any relationship, and especially in this very difficult situation where you have an agreement that this is over, but we're still staying together. I mean, people have very interesting living arrangements. You know, we imagine that because you're married that there's this traditional, we share the bed together, we share a room together, we share a bathroom, and we share everything together. But people don't do that. And especially when they're in this difficult situation where they have agreed that the relationship as it was is over, but they're still going to be living together. So they make plans, and I like that people adapt to become more comfortable, because you don't want to be living unhappily and with so much tension.
So I just want to get, I'm trying to understand this as well.
Yes.
So you're still married,
Yes.
You've made the arrangement that divorce is too expensive or it's not good for the kids or whatever your reason is.
Right.
And it's non-abusive, so there's not an abusive partner involved. And you're living in separate beds maybe, or in a separate room in the house.
Absolutely, yeah.
Or
People
on
do
the
that.
same property but in...
Yes.
He lives in the granny flats
Absolutely.
on an old bed.
And I think that that's
while you're living it up
absolutely
in the
fine.
house.
Exactly. I think it's absolutely fine as long as there's agreements, because it becomes difficult. You can't go into a new form of relationship when you are so used to a pattern of moving together, having a rhythm together, of doing things together as a married
bank accounts
couple.
together.
Yeah, and also socializing together. So like you get an invitation to go and people expect you to go together. Maybe you haven't told everyone. Actually, we are emotionally disconnected even though we're still presenting as a marriage couple.
Surely there are implications to a situation like this.
Yeah, it's enormously confusing.
Set it up for us, because if someone is thinking at home that they want this arrangement, Dr. Eve, we need to know the ins and outs. You see people every day of your life who are in relationship conundrums.
Absolutely, I like that term, absolutely true. So setting it up means the boundary word, that they will be able to have a conversation, which is really difficult, because you think about it, people who are in that space don't talk. That's probably why they got into that space, because they don't know how to have adult conversations with each other.
They're fired up and they're angry.
Yeah, and also because
upset, emotional.
Absolutely, which is why they haven't been able to have a marriage which is really workable, because they're not able to communicate well enough. So they have to be able to talk and say that we are going to be living in separate spaces, and that we're also going to be respectful towards each other. And we're going to change our expectations. That's what boundaries are. What expectations do we have? So I can't expect you any longer to be taking out the trash or to be helping with the children. Or actually, this is what I do expect. I expect you to do that. Well, what happens to our intimate lives? Can we bring home partners? Well, maybe it's not a good idea, because you've got children who are living in that house and children who may still believe that mom and dad are just living in separate spaces, but they're still married. And the society comes into it once again.
I'm starting to think that that's a better solution than having parents who fight all the time or who are not at peace. Listen, we're talking about being married and then moving on in that situation. 083-913-3728 if you have a question to Dr. Eve. She's with us this morning. After this, we're also talking about children in the marriage. You just mentioned it. What to do in that situation to keep everything at peace. This is your Feel Good Breakfast Show.